Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV in a new edition of our online interview series. Today, we want to get an update from Australia directly with Michael Hudson, the president and CEO of Southern Cross Gold Consolidated, the famous gold explorer from Australia. Good morning. How are you, Michael? Or good afternoon for you.
Morning. Good morning to you. Good afternoon to me.
Yeah, perfect. So Southern Cross Gold, what you guys did is a tremendous success. This is really outstanding, I must say. And I saw your last drill results like 3.9 meters with over 124 grams gold per ton, and also individual assets up to 2,110 grams gold per ton. So that's all at Sandy Creek, your gold antimony project. And it looks to me like that those drill results really confirm the success, lead it further ongoing. So how would you rate those drill results? How do you see that?
Well, definitely world class in isolation. The last few press releases we've had over the last month or so have ranked the headline number, one which you just spoke to there, as the best hits in the space for that given week that press release was out. It is a little meaningless in terms of how many we have now. So we have 66 plus 100 gram meter intersections into this deposit. Divide that by the amount of drilling, 84 kilometres that we've announced out of this project, and that hit rate is better than anything else I can see on Earth. So not only great in the last few weeks, but also an amazing project. There's a lot of gold here, and no doubt it's getting better. So I think 4 of the top 10 have come in the last 6 months in terms of our hits. But what does it mean? It means we're extending the system, and it means we're focusing on grade also. So extension is one way to expand or build ounces, focusing on the higher grade areas, which is what we're doing. And some of these hits were infill hits between 50-meter spaced drill holes or 100-meter spaced drill holes in some instances. So we're hitting the grade where we want to see it, and the grade has continuity. So that's de-risking the process as well. So not only making it bigger by those two measures, but also de-risking it, and remembering we're just exploring a smaller part of 10% of a much larger system, a 90% larger system. So lots of good things to be excited about, without a doubt, as we build this project.
Fantastic. Also, what catched my attention are those stibnite results with 21.6% and also over 20%. Stibnite is antimony, and as we all know, due to the geopolitical situation in these days in the world, everybody is trying to bring up defense and bring up ammunition and weapons and all those kind of things. Not for the war, everybody wants to defend, and so I we saw already a big rise in the antimony prices. So how important is antimony for you, for the project? And would it pay maybe as a byproduct for the gold production?
Well, you think about the margins on these projects, and I can't give economics because we haven't done studies,
Oh.
but let's look at some surrounding assets. Fosterville produces per ton at about $280 to $300 a ton. That's fact. The value of our rock, it averages around about 10 grams gold equivalent, which is in Aussie dollars around $1,400. So you can see that we've got just slightly more than 80% between what Fosterville produce at and what the value of the rock is. We've got to do all our own economic studies, so take or leave it, but that leaves about 20% of the cost. And antimony, by chance, is about 20% in situ value recoverable of this project as it stands at whatever cutoff you choose. So it is a key byproduct, but we say that antimony will help permit the project. It's a very strategic element, metal, for the reasons you gave. You don't have a munitions industry without it. You certainly don't even have a solar industry without it. 20% antimony goes to clarify the glass in solar cells. So it's 20% of our product. It's a very large Western world project, this project, Sunday Creek, but 80% is still gold. So gold will fund the project. Antimony will help permit it, is basically what we say. So very important to have the gold financial backing, a strategic flavor.
Yeah, absolutely. If we are already talking about finances, I was really astonished because it's not usual business that a explorer raises 143 million Canadian dollars or 160 million Aussie dollars as an explorer. So, what will you guys do with the money? Why have you done such a large raise now?
Well, we put a business plan together.
Mhm.
Basically, we had these exploration targets that we've been progressively talking to and articulating to the market. The last one in March was 2.2 million ounces to 3.2 million ounces at between 8.6, I think it was, and 10.5 grams gold equivalent, with that 20% coming from antimony. So then we looked at that, and we know it's only less than 10% of the broader trend, so we can build ounces here. But we had a substantial base to build a project around those drill holes that are these exploration targets have constrained by drill holes, but too far apart to put into a resource, all of it into a resource. We're running internal resources as a subset of that. So then we looked at just what this project could potentially produce on a tonnage basis per year, and we're running internal scoping studies on that. And then we said, well, we need a 10-year operation, which is generally the DCF method on how we value these projects in the mining industry. And then we said, well, okay, we'll produce X, and I'm not going to tell you the numbers because they're not public numbers, and they need a lot more economic rigor behind them before they go public. But we said, well, okay, we need to drill out this substantial resource to justify this 10-year production, and so we need lots of drill meters. Every million ounces basically needs 100 kilometers of drilling to get an inferred resource in an orogenic system. There's a rule of thumb, so you can sort of back calculate a bit from that. So we're going to drill 200 kilometers of drilling on top of what we've already got, and produce a substantial resource. We're going down with a decline, so about 60 million is the drill out in Aussie dollars. 30 million is a decline to make that drilling 3 times as fast, because we can put more rigs operating 24/7.
So that means you go
Um,
already underground to drill then.
that's right. Yeah, we're putting a kilometre-long tunnel
Okay.
from
Wow.
surface underground. So time is what are the great value destructors of NAV in our business? CapEx, capital costs of a mine, operational costs, OpEx. We can't control those yet. We need to engineer the project, but we can control time. And time is really, really important here. So 3 times quicker drilling means we can bring this project 3 times quicker to those economic studies, which is the eventual phase of this work program, which that will be finished around Q2 27. And so it was all very much rationalized around the project that we could build from the project itself. What what do we think the tons per year that could come from this? And that really works back to building the resource and what size we need to develop.
Mhm. If you would have a crystal ball in your hand now, and you would say everything goes according to, let's say, the base case of your plan, when could this project be in production from now on? Because you said the drilling until 2027, then we all know studies take also time, then there is a construction time. And I'm just speculating. It's really hypothetical for the regulators, forward-looking statement. It's just speculating to give us an idea. Do we talk about 5 years, 7 years, 10 years?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of uh, pressure on us because of that antimony component
Yeah.
to bring this
That's what
project
I think.
more quickly to the market. Then, so it's a matter of scale. Then, so how big do we make it before we start versus, and I just told you about a bigger plan, but actually, there's sub business plans within that larger plan where we could come earlier. So I'd say 2 to 4.5 years, depending on the scalability of the project and when we flick the switch, would be the options between producing. But, you know, again, huge caveats on that because we need to put out economic studies and all that work. And remember, we haven't put a resource out in the public domain yet, past those exploration targets, which are not resources. So we're doing a lot of work internally, but we wanted to create something substantial rather than something small that we incrementally built in terms of a resource base. And we've achieved that now. The last 18 months has built that exploration target constrained by drilling that gives us the chance to build something meaningful at a large scale, which may be curated somewhat to bring earlier scale production on because of that antimony need for the West.
Okay, super. When I look at the history of Sunday Creek, 1967 to 2008, there was exploration that looks like, yeah, not much happened. Then March 2022, I think you guys, there started an exploration. Then December, it was already, oh wow, some big hits above the 100 grams. Then January 24 and until March 2025, that looks completely different. Yeah. So we see so many results with above 100 grams, 50 to 100 grams, which is absolutely outstanding. So what are you doing now, let's say, maybe different, or is it just the speed and the amount of work you are doing? And it looks like that this system is giving and giving and giving. Doesn't matter where you drill, it looks to me like you find gold.
Yeah, it's an amazing system, and as we joked off camera, that's been there for 380 million years, and we've just been a bit slow to find it. But it is an incredible system, and it's exceeded our expectations without a doubt. And you're referring to one of the slides in the deck that shows that progression, and we put a lot of meters into it, but we're going to literally triple the number of meters into it over the next 18 months. So there's going to be a lot more. And there's two phases to this company now. There's the de-risking it and building the project, and the team is morphing. We're bringing in mining people, but we never want to forget that we want to create these multiple Lassonde curves. So you just don't uh, create a boring engineering story with no disrespect to the engineers. The market value absolutely comes from more discovery, creating a lot more ounces. You have a much more marketable product if you've got a multi-million ounce 10-gram deposit that's getting bigger, which we have. And then there's fundamental value which you're creating by de-risking it. So we've got to make sure that we create those two value propositions for this project. So we won't stop exploring. And one other part of that $162 million raise, we're putting $20 million into regional exploration outside that core area
Mhm.
to keep that discovery moving.
Yeah. What is your theory why you have such tremendous high grades? I mean, it's not fallen from heaven, right?
Well, it feels like it sometimes. Uh, Well, we're literally in the shadow of the head frame, 100 kilometers, but very close geologically to what has been the best gold mine on Earth for 4 of the last 8 to 9 years. That's Fosterville. So Fosterville was the lowest all-in sustaining cost, the highest grade, top 10 producer for many, many years, and it's only 7 or 8 years old, that story. So we've learnt about how these systems form. Agnico have been a wonderful uh, owner of that asset who've shared the information or allowed the information to be shared. So we've got some key people from Fosterville now working with us. So we know how these amazing systems, Sunday Creek and Fosterville are two incredible systems, and really the geological story on why they're here and how you look for them is 7 or 8 years old from Fosterville, but it only really became more public when Agnico took ownership of Fosterville, which is 2 or 3 years. So we're only talking a geological concept on how we explore for these things that's very, very new. And so, no doubt there'll be many more of these to be found in Victoria.
Okay, super. I found also very interesting slide in your presentation called the schematic plan view main drill area, the golden ladder. What does your golden ladder concept mean?
That's an easy way to explain structural geology to people who aren't structural geologists, basically. And so we we have a rock mass that starts at surface, and it's got sides to it like this, and it goes into the ground, and it's a few hundred meters wide between my hands, and that's what hosts all the gold. But within that, there with those sides, which we call the rails of the ladder, like where you hang on to with your hands, there's the rungs of the ladder at right angles, and they are the veins of gold that start from surface and go all the way down, and they're perpendicular to the rungs and the rails. Sorry, the rungs and the rails. The rungs go down from surface all the way down to a kilometre. There's over 70 of these rungs. They're 2 to 4 meters wide. They're 20 to up to 100 meters long, and they're very continuous in the up and down orientation. 500 or 600 meters, we can chase any one rung in the third dimension. So that's how our system works, and it's a nice simple way to visualize the system, rather than talk about veins and hosts and all these things that geologists happen to do, but lose most people.
Okay, super. If you would compare Sunday Creek with Fosterville, it looks like that the Sunday Creek is really developing into the next Fosterville. I have a little bit the feeling. Of course, there's much more work to do, but to what depths is your feeling Sunday Creek would go down? I mean, I saw already something like 900 meters. You anticipate also gold. How do you see that? And at what depths it would start, yeah, to really start mining then? What do you think?
Well, Fosterville and Sunday Creek and Costerfield, I say, are twins, but they're not identical twins. So they were born at the same time, within a million or so years of each other, from the same mother, if you like, with the same fluid system geologically. So they're the same system. And then just where they park themselves in the earth is a little bit different in terms of how they're hosted. So their orientations and what controls the deposition of the gold is a little bit different. But they're all variations on the same theme. So Fosterville is refractory gold until it got to about 600 or 700 meters, and then they found these amazing free gold, uber high grade areas. The Swan Zone being the most famous one, like 2.4 million ounces at 40 grams, and that's what they're mining now: the refractory gold and some of these higher grade parts. Costerfield and Sunday Creek are in different host rocks, so they're not refractory gold; they're free gold from surface. And all the systems start at surface, and then they go to great depths, and they transition to these amazingly high grade systems. Same playbook in the three deposits at about 5, 6, 700 meters. The antimony starts to drop off. You get more sulfur salt development, which is a different mineral. But most importantly is that or minerals, I should say. Most importantly is you get these bonanza grades. So we've got very good grades at surface, but they certainly get a lot better at depth, as they do in our adjacent peers. So there's and Fosterville's down around 2 kilometers exploring. We've explored about 1 kilometer. So in the next few months, we're literally starting some very deep holes to demonstrate the system goes at least another 50% down.
Mhm.
So we got a kilometre, we'll go to 1.5 kilometres, and let alone this is 10% of the whole trend that goes for about 12 kilometres as
Okay.
well.
Okay, super. Another very important thing is, I mean, grade, depth, etc. What you have showed so far is outstanding. But how does the metallurgy look? Have you had a look already onto that?
Absolutely, we've been through CITA test work. It's in the public domain. We're very soon to release the second stage work. Costerfield and Sunday Creek being our project, were treated together in the day by during World War One, when the UK Munitions Act kept both projects going for the antimony for the same reasons we spoke about before. So, similarly to Costerfield, we'll have a gravity recoverable concentrate for gold, and this is what the CITA test work showed. And then a float product, and probably two float products: a very good, marketable, clean antimony gold concentrate, and then a pyrite gold concentrate. And the gold will be mostly free through those three products. So there's there's some very good metallurgical characteristics, and remembering Sunday Creek was a mine for 50 years, but a bit different in the day. They just recovered gravity gold, so they took about 50%, and then they didn't have much need for the antimony outside the times like World War One or the Prussian Wars. Even the antimony spiked in Victoria, so in the 1870s or late 1860s. So it's just been on demand in this deposit for a long time, and we have some learnings from the past and very much new data from the future.
Okay, super. So that looks also quite good. We look forward to those results. Another important thing is, as we know, Australia is a very, very large country, meaning continent. So everything has a lot of distances. How does it look like with your location? Do you have access, let's say, to power? How is it about water? What is about workforce for the future? Stuff like this.
Sunday Creek is amazingly unusual. It's 60 kilometres from Melbourne,
Ah,
which is where I'm sitting now, which is 5 million people. It almost sounds too close until you get out there, and we have bought 2,600 acres of freehold land over the project and for many kilometres beyond. So we have the freehold ownership. We have power to site already. It needs upgrading but we're going through some of that work already. There's bitumen roads to very close to site within hundreds of meters. The workforce, well, there's a very good local town that I'm fifth generation from next to the project. So I grew up next to this project, and I've spent my time exploring the world for 25
it's in
years.
your
So
gene.
I'm a little but and then where else can you offer people the opportunity to live in a capital city, send their kids to good schools, and be home every night, which is a pretty unusual outcome in any mine. So there'll be a mix of people living locally and commuting from Melbourne, which is about basically an hour or less away. So it's an unusual project in that regard. Waste rock won't be waste rock. We talk about waste rock in mining, which is the rock that doesn't contain the gold or the antimony because it's low value product. But when you were 60 kilometers from 5 million people, every bit of rock counts, right? That's probably the most critical material in the world today. Anywhere, wherever you are today, or wherever I am, people are chasing cement and aggregate and sand. That's a real shortage as industrialization continues. They're the true rare materials for many instances. Just to continue to build.
Yeah. Okay, super. So I would say if we recap, drill, baby, drill. That's something what you will do the next 2 years, definitely. And you have the money to do so. And obviously, you have a very good game plan, it looks to me like. You know exactly where you have to drill.
Yeah, absolutely. We know exactly in terms of how to drill this out and put a substantial resource. Always risk around these projects that they continue, and
It's
that's why
mining.
we need to drill to determine that.
Yeah.
But if we've got the money now, and if we're successful, this is going to be one of the world's highest margin projects. That's what we're aiming. That's our aim to produce. We don't have to be the world's largest mine,
Yeah.
but certainly one of the most profitable. And now we're funded to at least demonstrate that in spades.
Good. That leads to my last question. How well are you protected shareholder-wise for an unfriendly takeover?
Well, we're pretty well protected is the way that we look at it at the moment. We've got about 25% institutions, park that to the side. We've got 30% held between a few people, and those few people are Darren Morecambe, Kirill Sokolov, Pierre Lassonde, basically, who have a majority of that. Pierre, I talked about the Lassonde curve before. He's the guy that invented that and one of the best value investors in the space. Darren is recognized as one of the smartest people in the industry. He was refining 25% of the world's gold 20 years ago. So these are people that know, and Kirill's an amazing mind on investment and global macro themes. So they're very good people. They're very engaged. They want us to build this project. So if anyone wants to buy this project, they've got to basically talk to our major shareholders who are very committed to building this very high margin project. These are very, very rare assets. There's literally very few multi-million ounce plus 10-gram deposits
Yeah.
that exist in the world. Windfall's gone in Canada.
Yeah.
Bellevue is in
They are
production
all
here.
gone.
Spartan's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, to me, it looks like you could have in the future, and I'm really guessing now, as I'm not a geologist nor a mineralogist, but if I look at the whole setup and you just keep going with those results, that could be 15, 20 million ounces. Yeah, no,
You
really,
said it.
that's what it looks like to
I
me.
Well, it's a big system without a doubt, and no, I'm not going to go on public record with those numbers, but
I
but
said it, not you.
it's just yeah, it's got a chance to be a lot bigger without a doubt
Yeah.
than where we are today, and like I said, two things is to de-risk it, but also to continue to expand.
Absolutely. Super. So I would say keep it going. Hit us with very good more drill results, which I'm absolutely sure you will do. And Michael, I wish you very, very well. Thank you very much for the update. And I would say keep it going.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Jochen. Lovely to speak.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Michael Hudson, the president and CEO of Southern Cross Gold Consolidated. Yeah, it looks like this is a new, big elephant here in the gold space in Australia, but also worldwide. I'm really looking forward to that resource estimate, which we'll hopefully have then the beginning of 2027. And I must say, what they showed so far is absolutely outstanding, super high grades, some of the highest grades in the world, definitely. And it looks like with every drill, they hit more and more and more. And as I said, I wouldn't be astonished in the future within whatever, 4 or 5 years, if this is then a 10, 15, maybe 20 million ounce deposit in 10 years, we will see that. But one thing is for sure, this is absolutely one of the top notch, best gold projects plus antimony. Please don't forget that in the world, and you really should check out this fabulous company. So thanks for watching us, and bye bye from Switzerland.